Now, from the fifth floor Cumulus Studios in downtown Dallas, it's time for Inside Real Estate. Here's your host, Michael Kruizinga.
All right, good morning, Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. This is Michael Kruizinga, your local Dallas-Fort Worth area realtor, and this is Inside Real Estate. Going to be talking all things real estate today. We're going to talk a little mortgage, talk a little insurance, real estate topics, maybe throw in a little sports if we can. Today is July 26th, 2015. Usually like to do a little this day in history. And so here's what we got back in time today. Let's say 1917, J. Edgar Hoover gets his first job at the DOJ. And he spent 48 years, folks, as the head of the FBI. And after he did leave, what did Congress and the government do? They limited the directorship to 10 years because he was there so long, but he did such a great job. I thought that was really interesting, so I wanted to throw that out you. 1947, National Security Act was put into place post-World War II. And it did a number of things I thought were pretty interesting. Separated the U.S. Air Force from the Army, established the National Security Council, as well as established the CIA. So I thought that was pretty interesting in history. And then, of course, I always like to touch base on a little bit of sports and history. Mickey Mantle hit his first Grand Slam in 1952 on this day out in Detroit. He was tied ninth with about 32 others in the all-time Grand Slam list, had 9 all-time, along with several greats like Yogi Berra, as well as several former and current Texas Rangers, Mark Teixeira, Ruben Sierra, and Adrian Beltre, all with 9 Grand Slams. So, folks, that's this day in history, July 26th. So, folks, if you're going to call in, the phone number is 888-787-KLIF, 888-787-KLIF, 5543. If you've got any questions on mortgage, insurance, or real estate in general, we'd love to hear from you. Here's what we're doing today. Starting at 8:15, we're going to do mortgage talk with Terry Wagner. Terry Wagner of Supreme Lending Rockwall is going to be live in studio with us. And then coming up at 8:30, we've got our insurance segment with J.C. Harder of J.C. Harder Goosehead Insurance Agency, and he will be live here in studio as well. So that's at 8:30. 8:15 is mortgage talk. After that, we'll probably get into some various real estate topics, as well as probably bringing back in Terry to do a little more mortgage talk later in the show. Website, folks, is InsideRealEstateRadio.com, InsideRealEstateRadio.com, so you can connect here with all of our partners at the website. If you want to be a part of the show, we're always looking for experts in home improvement in various categories. Or if you want to advertise on the show, you can connect with us there, InsideRealEstateRadio.com. A couple featured listings we wanted to talk about. Out in Plano, we got 3913 Chimney Rock. We've got a 422, about 2,500 square feet plus. It's on a nice cul-de-sac lot. Beautiful pool, diving pool, actually. It's got a nice slide as well. Be perfect for this summer heat. Great entertaining home. It's got several areas in the backyard for barbecuing and sitting. Great property out there. So check out the website for that. Also over in Arlington, 1114 Tulane Drive. North Arlington, just north of I-30, close to the entertainment district over there. Single story, 322, 1980 build, almost 2,000 square feet. Stainless appliances and all updates, fresh carpet, fresh paint, nice sunroom with a hot tub, great property out there. So a couple of featured listings, you can check those out. Go to InsideRealEstateRadio.com, connect over to my website, and you can check those out. Or, of course, give me a buzz, and we'll get you out there to see those. talking about what we do, folks, for our clients when we are listing their property on the market. A lot of agents, kind of slack off. We'll be honest. They list the property and they forget it. And, that's not something we do here. We do a professional photo shoot. And honestly, folks, pictures really sell real estate. They honestly do. What's going to drive traffic to, my website, what's going to drive traffic to your listings, getting people out to look at your house, it's going to be pictures. So we use top-notch professional photographers to get out there and get shots of your house in the best possible light. And then we get those promoted all over the place. If you can believe it, folks, there's about 11,000 websites that we hit. And I can't even name them all. We know all the big ones, but that's how many sites we syndicate out to, if you can believe it. It's crazy, folks. But we do an excellent job of promoting our clients' listings and getting their homes sold, as well as we can feature them here on the radio show. And so if you're thinking about selling out there, if you're a for sale by owner, we understand you want to give it a shot for maybe a couple weeks, see if you can get it done. We all want to get something done on our own if we can, but you decide to list it, think about talking to us, folks. So hit me up, InsideRealEstateRadio.com, connect over to my website, give me a shout, and we'll get you taken care of. One of our new partners is Snap Mobile Apps, and this is a company out of California, and we've started a new relationship with them. They run real estate apps, and so coming up in the next couple of weeks, that'll be live, so we want you to go to the website, check that out, and you can download that new app. And big thanks to Snap Mobile Apps out in California. We're looking forward to working with them. This is a premier app company, and so if you have a project that you're looking to launch an app for, give us a buzz. I'll get you their information. These guys are great guys, top-notch tech guys out there in California. We'll get you their info. Snap Mobile Apps. All right, folks, so we're going to get into a little bit of some Zillow talk. Okay, I want to talk about why some of these websites like Zillow, and Zillow is the big one, and don't get me wrong, they're a great website, and I want to talk about Trulia and all the rest of them as well, but these are great websites, but the problem is they can't keep up with the local MLS feeds, because things on the ground, especially here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, because the market is moving so rapidly, so fast, they just can't keep up. So when you call on a property and you get somebody and they're like, oh, yeah, it's under contract. That's certainly very frustrating. And you call about something, that listing was sold, or, it was for rent, and you thought it was for sale. There's a lot of errors and discrepancies on some of these websites. And, to a degree, you got to give them a break. These are websites that are set up to generate advertising dollars and make money in that sense. They're not set up to sell real estate. These websites, they don't have brokerages. They don't sell real estate. Well, who does sell real estate? Well, real estate brokerages and real estate agents, realtors. That's who sells real estate. So why not go direct to the horse's mouth to get the information that you need? Folks, we can set you up on automatic daily updates for exactly what you need. These updates that you can get from some of these other websites, they're going to be dated. And in some cases, they could be 2 weeks or several months behind. In fact, I had a call the other day about a property they found on one of the national websites. The thing had sold 5 years ago. Why is that even on there? You're not going to get those types of errors from our daily updates. They will be live to the minute information. So if you're a buyer, you're thinking about doing something out there, we've got a whole process for you. Just give us a call, okay? We're going to talk about some things. We're going to see what your situation is. We're going to get you set up on some automatic daily updates. And, hey, you may be, down the line, 6 months, a year down the line from buying. You may just want to get updates, just to see what's going on out there, and that's fine. You may be in a lease. The lease may not be up for quite a while. So give us a buzz. We're going to talk. We're going to ask you some questions. We're going to get your credit score. We're going to talk about any issues. We're going to see how long you've been on the job, And these are frustrating things that, maybe you're just thinking about getting that started out there. You don't want to go through the rigmarole of answering all these questions, but we've got to figure it out so we can figure out your situation so that we can take care of you. We need to check on, do you have some down payment money? Are you married? Do you have a spouse? What's their situation? What's their credit score? How long have they been on the job? How long have you been in that lease? Exactly. All those things. So, folks, give us a call. Don't trust what you're seeing on all those websites, okay? Real estate agents, real estate brokerages are the ones that sell real estate. Let us do the work for you, not some national website. All right, folks, so we're going to be back with mortgage here in a little bit. We'll see you in a few.
The J.C. Harder Insurance Agency in Uptown Dallas has nearly unlimited resources when it comes to getting you the best insurance rates and policies for home, auto, and more. As part of the Goosehead Insurance brand, you, the consumer, have the power of choice through the J.C. Harder Insurance Agency Network. For a quote today on all your insurance needs, stop by J.C.'s office on McKinney Avenue in Uptown Dallas. Call 214-643-6108 or visit jcharderagency.com. That's 214-643-6108 or jcharderagency.com.
Millennium Title Carroll PC Real Estate is a unique multi-service real estate title, law, and real estate investment firm that handles over 150 commercial and residential closings each month. Their real estate, legal, and tax services range from purchases to refinances to short sales and reverse mortgages. They can handle all of your real estate, legal, and tax planning needs. Their experience offers clients and investors a comprehensive perspective in managing their real estate, law, and investment needs. Visit txtitleattorney.com. That's txtitleattorney.com or call 817-310-0136.
Now back to Inside Real Estate. Here's Mike the Realtor.
Hey folks, we're back. Inside Real Estate. Mike Kruizinga, local Dallas-Fort Worth area realtor here. Website, InsideRealEstateRadio.com, InsideRealEstateRadio.com. And if you're going to call in for this mortgage segment, if you got questions about anything related to mortgage, the call number is 888-787-KLIF, 888-787-KLIF. So give us a shout. So let's head on into mortgage segment. We've got live here in studio Terry Wagner, Supreme Lending Rockwall. The website is RockyMartin.com, RockyMartin.com. That's Rocky with an I-E. And the number of their folks standing by right now for any mortgage calls is 866-607-5667. Terry, welcome back.
Good morning, Mike. Happy to be here.
How we doing today?
Doing great.
Good. Well, let's get into it. What do we got in mortgage today?
Well, I don't have anything too terribly glamorous. I wanted to talk today about documentation. Everyone wants to talk about all the different loan programs that are available, but in order to qualify for any of those loan programs, we have to make sure we have the right documentation.
Absolutely. Not glamorous at all.
No, it's not.
But extremely, extremely important.
Yes. So I thought I'd just kind of take it in a couple of different sections here. We'll talk first about credit and how that relates to the documentation that we're going to need. Like you were talking about people that are leasing, that's one of the first things that we're going to ask. Where are you living? Do you have a home? Are you going to sell it? Are you going to keep it? Is it going to be a second home? Are you going to rent it out? What's going to go on with the property that you're living in now? If you are renting now, depending on the loan program that we have to that we put you in, you may need 12 canceled checks for your rent payment. So kind of keep that in mind. If you are a homeowner, it's important to obviously let us know if you own a home and if you're going to retain that home. Because we'll need to know how much are you paying on taxes, how much are you paying on insurance, do you have HOAs? We'll have to include all of that in the debt to income ratio.
Exactly.
So then let's talk for a second about your assets. It happens on every application that we get. We ask for the last 2 months' bank statements. They're going to send us pages 1, 2, 5, and 6. We need all pages of the bank statement.
Front and back.
Even if it says this page is blank intentionally, please send us that page. Then we're also going to be looking on those bank statements for any large deposits, because we're going to need to source those. An underwriter's going to want to know if we've got any large deposits, where they came from. So we'll have to source those. So be sure and speak with your loan officer about that. Let them know if you've got any large deposits, if someone gifted you money to purchase the house. Be sure and let us know that so we can plan ahead for it. 401k, we'll want to see all of those. If you have any stocks and bonds, again, if you're selling a house, did you sell a house a month ago? Maybe that's the reason for the large deposit. All of that documentation that we'll need. Basically, what I wanted to let everyone know is an underwriter, when she's looking at a file, or he is looking at a file, what they're looking at is what happened the last 2 years. We need to document that. And what we can anticipate to happen in the next 3 years, reasonably anticipate. So that's what an underwriter's looking at. So we're going to have to go back 2 years on your residency, 2 years on your employment, full 2 years. So that brings us into income. What kind of documentation are you going to need for income? Well, if you're a W-2 employee, that's an easy one. We need the last 30 days paycheck stubs and your last 2 years W-2s and your tax returns, all pages of your tax returns. If there are, and this comes up a lot, Mike, if you, on your tax returns, file any unreimbursed business expenses, we have to know that. Your loan officer needs to be asking that question up front. You need to be providing them with that information right up front from the very beginning, because we have to know where that starting line is on what we have to solve, what issues we have to solve with every individual file.
Absolutely.
So if you've got unreimbursed business expenses, we want to know about that. So if you're self-employed, a little bit different of a ballgame. If you're self-employed, 90% of the time, you're going to need to be so for 2 full years. In other words, it needs to show on the last 2 years' tax returns that you've been self-employed. We're going to look at your business tax returns if you have those. A lot of people don't have the business tax returns. They just file it under Schedule C on their tax returns, and that's just fine. But again, we need to see all pages of the last 2 years' tax returns. And then if you've got Social Security income, if that's what we're qualifying you using, Social Security, disability, those types of forms of income, we need to see the awards letters that you receive. How much are you getting each month? Again, if you're filing taxes, we'll need to see those.
Mm-hmm. And folks, I know, you're listening to this and you're thinking, man alive, this is a lot of paperwork. This, especially first-time buyers, you're thinking about, oh my goodness. And sometimes, especially with the millennials, they're like, they get overloaded really easy. Yes. They're like, what, paperwork?
Yeah.
What, I have to prove? I have money in my bank. I have to prove
right.
I have a job. What?
Yeah.
So they're thinking this crazy. But, look, this is exactly why we work with the best. We say it all the time. Supreme Lending, and Terry just mentioned it, talking about the expenses. A lot of loan officers are not going to know about that. They're not going to take the time to go through all of this up front to make sure they don't get you into a situation where closing goes south. Or 3-4 weeks later, let's say maybe we're outside of our financing contingency, and we can't do it. And maybe you're in a position at that point, if you're past that contingency, where you lose your earnest money. That's not going to happen with the folks at Supreme Lending Rockwall. And folks, you can tell she is on her game. She knows this paperwork, and
as I do.
You want to work with someone who knows what they're doing, who knows the paperwork and everything that's got to be done, and is on top of all the new and upcoming regulations. So sorry, but continue there, Terry.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to tell you a funny story. I had a real estate agent that I've worked with for many years call me up this week because we have a customer that we're working with together. And he had called the real estate agent because I needed just this very thing. Unreimbursed business expenses showed up, but he was missing the page that told me whether it belonged to the husband or the wife. Well, he told the real estate agent that I was too old school for him because I wouldn't just provide them with a pre-qualification letter so that they could start shopping for houses.
Right.
And I don't want to do that to the customers, the real estate agents, or to myself in providing a pre-qualification letter for someone when they don't really qualify.
Yeah, exactly. And, a lot of people don't understand that there's a lot of work that goes on, not only in the mortgage world, but the real estate agent world, the title company world. And then that's why we always talk about pre-approvals so much. But with a company that actually does pre-approve you, they go through the process. You're not just filling out something online, and because you have a reasonably decent credit score, they just shoot you one over. Doesn't work that way with these guys. They do it the right way to not lead you down a path you don't need to be led. And as a buyer, you may lead other people down a path as well, like your real estate agent. We're green lit, in all honesty, with buyers by our mortgage lender, unless they're a cash buyer. And, we don't need to be looking at houses, spinning our wheels if, in all honesty, you're not ready to go. Because if you're 6 months out, there's no point in doing that. There's no point in getting, wasting your time, our time. We all are busy folks. So that's a great point.
Right. And we don't want to send you and the customers out looking at a $300,000 house when, come to find out, they only qualify for a $200,000, because when you go look at that $300,000 home, it's more difficult for the borrower to kind of come back to a $200,000 or less if that's all truly they're going to qualify for based on the full picture.
Exactly. And a lot of buyers come to me, and so we talk about price range and what they're looking for their home, for their family, and they're like, yeah, I would, like to be probably around 300 is what I'd like to top out. It's like, okay, that's great. So tell me exactly what you're looking for as a mortgage payment. And then they come back $1,500.
I know it.
Kind of what they're paying in rent.
Right.
Okay, well, that's going to be about 170,
right.
175 maybe, is where you're going to be, not 300. So there's a little bit of a shock, and that's why we get you with our lender to help explain a lot of those things.
Right. And we do have someone available right now if someone has questions about the documentation or what they're going to qualify for. You can certainly call us at 1-866-607-5667 or reach out to us on our website, rockymartin.com.
And one thing that you did mention, and hopefully maybe we can come back to these later in the show, because gift money comes up a lot.
Yes, it does.
And a lot of people, especially first-time buyers, especially these millennials, use gift money.
Right.
And a lot of times they're very shocked that there's some process that goes with that. So I'd like to try to get onto that a little bit when we get back for sure,
okay.
And as well as the Social Security income, okay. Because a lot of clients, they're thinking, can I even qualify to buy something? I'm already retired, et cetera, et cetera. So maybe we can get to some of that as well.
Good point.
We've got about a minute and a half. Did we have a couple other items there?
Just a couple of more items maybe on credit. When we pull your credit, again, a lot of these companies that you may go to, they look at your credit score. Oh, yeah, you have a credit score that qualifies you. Well, it's not necessarily just the credit score that we need to look at. There may be judgments. There may be tax liens. There may be a foreclosure or a bankruptcy. Those are the items that we need to look at so we can make sure that the seasoning is done correctly on those. Again, not sending you guys out too soon before you're really qualified. So we take a look at those. We make sure that if it's a judgment that's on the credit, you can certainly pay those off at closing. But it's funds, again, that we'll need to source to make sure that you have those funds available to pay off at closing.
Right. Yeah, and everything, people need to understand that, your finances, look, you're getting a mortgage, there's risk involved to the lender. So we've got to figure out all these things, and people think it's kind of a pain in the butt. And your finances have to be tracked. The money that you're going to use, whether you're coming to closing with, everything's got to be tracked. Even your earnest money payment has to be tracked.
Right.
Where it's coming from. And so people don't necessarily understand that. And but the gift money, we'll get back to that, and hopefully the Social Security income a little bit later.
Okay.
Folks, we'll be right back. We're going to go into our insurance segment with J.C. Harder live in studio when we get back. Inside Real Estate, folks. We'll be back in a few. With decades of experience, the Rocky Martin Supreme Lending Team will work to close your home loan in 30 days or less. With access to the most competitive interest rates, the most financing options, and the most access to down payment assistance programs, the Rocky Martin team won't be beating service to you for all your mortgage needs, including purchase and refinance. Trust RockyMartin.com and his team for their reliable and fast loan process. Go to RockyMartin.com or call 972-772-1866 today.
For housing lender, NMLS ID number 211-731-6730, Horizon Road, Suite B, Heath, Texas 75032.
Sellers, how would you like your home sold guaranteed? Buyers, how would you like your bid guaranteed to win? Well, it's real simple. Call Mike Kruizinga with Chris Arnold Premier Realty and ask about their guarantee programs for both buyers and sellers. No one beats Mike's professional listing and marketing services for all price ranges, including luxuries and ranches. And few have the knowledge and patience to take first-time buyers from renting to home ownership in a tough market. Visit DFWMetroplexRealestate.com and mention you heard this on the radio. And listen to Mike Sundays, 8 a.m. on KLIF for Inside Real Estate.
Millennium Title Carroll PC Real Estate is a unique multi-service real estate title, law, and real estate investment firm that handles over 150 commercial and residential closings each month. Their real estate, legal, and tax services range from purchases to refinances to short sales and reverse mortgages. They can handle all of your real estate, legal, and tax planning needs. Their experience offers clients and investors a comprehensive perspective in managing their real estate law and investment needs. Visit txtitleattorney.com, that's txtitleattorney.com, or call 817-310-0136.
Men, if you're like me, you appreciate the feeling of a clean, smooth shave from a quality blade. The sort of shave that cuts clean, without the burn. So why are you messing around with generic razors that cost $32 for an 8-pack, when you can shave with Harry's high-quality German-engineered blades for half the price? And if saving money and a clean shave isn't incentive enough, Harry's will give you their starter set, complete with a razor, 3 of their world-famous blades, and shaving cream for just $15. And shipping is always free. We'll also give you $5 off your first order. Our way of saying thank you for trying us. How are we able to save you all this money and still give you the best shave you'll ever enjoy? By owning the factory that manufactures them. That's how. So go to harrys.com right now and enter code 6655 at checkout. That's harrys.com, code 6655.
Now back to Inside Real Estate. Here's Mike the Realtor.
Hey folks, Mike Kruizinga here, local Dallas-Fort Worth area realtor. It's Inside Real Estate. Website's InsideRealEstateRadio.com, InsideRealEstateRadio.com. If you want to call in, 888-787-KLIF, 888-787-KLIF. Before we get into our insurance segment, we're going to do a little bit of title talk right quick. And I want to talk just briefly about 1031 exchanges, just because it came up the other day. We've seen this with quite a few clients in the past, but it was just something that came up really recent, so it's good to talk about. Seller client of mine, we put his listing on the market just the other day, and looking to purchase down in Austin. And so wanted to touch base with me about 1031 exchanges. Can he do that, et cetera, et cetera. And, we work with a title company that not only facilitates the transaction, but they can also manage the 1031 exchange as well. They do that for a simple $395 fee to manage the 1031 exchange. And, of course, that is our exclusive partner, Nancy Carroll, Carroll PC Real Estate and Millennium Title. And these guys do a great job with a vast number of real estate items where an attorney is needed. So not only just providing title work with Millennium Title, but also doing direct investments, 1031 exchanges like this. And so they're going to be able to take care of this client of mine on that 1031 exchange and also take care of closing them as well. So website for our folks over there, txtitleattorney.com, txtitleattorney.com for all of your real estate attorney needs. That's where we can't help you as an agent, or it's a little more complicated. We send you over there. And the phone number over at their office is 817-310-0136, 817-310-0136. That's txtitleattorney.com. And just a couple quick things about the 1031 exchange. And, when Nancy comes on, we'll do a segment specifically about this where, Nancy's our attorney, and so she can talk directly about this. But, what is a 1031 exchange? It's really just a way it's a like-kind exchange, change real estate, and avoid the taxation on it. So, but it's got to be like or better. So the price has got to be the same or better, higher. And once you do that exchange, you get 45 days to identify the new property. And it's very strict with that. You need to find that property within the 45 days. And then overall, you've got 180 days to complete the purchase. So there is a time frame on it, but it's a great way to, if you need to get out of a property, but you're planning to get back into another one, great way to, avoid some taxation there or defer it anyway, that 1031 exchange. And, of course, we work with the best over at Nancy Carroll PC to handle those types of things. So that's Title Talk. Now let's get into some insurance, folks. We got J.C. Harder of J.C. Harder Goosehead Insurance Agency here live in the studio. His folks are standing by at the office for all your insurance needs. And the number there is 214-643-6109, 214-643-6109. And the website, jcharderagency.com, jcharderagency.com. JC, welcome back to the show.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
How are we doing today?
Doing great. Yourself?
Excellent. So let's get into insurance talk. What do we got today?
Great. I'm just basically going to hit on why to use, Goosehead for a new home purchase, especially with working with your lender, working with your realtor, making the overall process, smooth and easy for you with great product. So to start, though, I want to say a quick thank you to all of our local business partners and current clients in the area for back-to-back nominations in D Magazine for Best Insurance Agents in Dallas. It really is a true honor to be recognized in such a local, prestigious magazine. So just very thank you for everyone that helps with that. So let's get into it and why use Goosehead for a new home purchase. More than anything, we understand your business. The majority of our business every single month comes from real estate professionals like Mike, like Terry, everybody at Rocky Martin's office in Rockwall Supreme Lending, for a couple of reasons. One, we have the product to back it up. So you might have a quote from your captive insurance agent that you hadn't talked to in 10, 15 years. Now it's a new property for you. You might not know how to compare it. So instead of having to call 20 other companies to get 20 quotes, you can call Goosehead, me and my wife, Patty Harder, and we can quote those 20 companies for you with one call, opposed to, spending days and weeks, for those insurance quotes.
Exactly.
Another big thing with home closings is those dates are going to change. It's an estimated closing date. It's not a firm closing date.
That's right.
And, I hear a lot of my new lenders that I work with will always have a headache or a horror story of, couldn't get a hold of an agent, or just, a 3-day turnaround on a binder change, where Goosehead, that is our total MO, is to never delay a closing and to help you get closed on time. So we understand that date's going to change. We understand we might have to add a non-purchasing spouse at the very end. So we're very nimble, we're very flexible, and we can, help you never wait on us for closing.
Exactly. And there are so many details, folks, to a real estate transaction, and it's why we work with the folks at Supreme Lending, why we work with the folks at Goosehead, because, things do happen, and, you want to be able to work with somebody who can work on the fly. Now, obviously, we try to head everything off of the past. That's why we ask you a gazillion questions in advance and hold your hand the whole way. But sometimes things do happen. They're unexpected. You want to work with people that can adapt on the fly and make it happen. And like JC said, they're going to be answering the phone. We're all going to be answering the phone, so we can take care of that situation for you.
That's right, Mike. Another reason to use Goosehead for your new home purchase is, to bundle with your other lines of insurance. I have 3 reasons to bundle here, which everyone knows. The first one is to save money. You can save hundreds of dollars of years in premiums by, combining that home and auto policy together. So not only just saving money, but with bundling, you have more options and better options. For example, my most preferred carriers, Kemper Preferred, MetLife, Traveler, Safeco, anything in the DFW area right now, they have to have the home and auto. They are not willing to do just the home by itself. A lot of that is too because of the, how much weather we've had in the last couple of years. But overall, it helps you save money. It gives you more options, and it gives you, kind of the top of the line product. With that said, if you have a company vehicle and just don't, have or have to have auto insurance, then we wouldn't bundle in your situation. But, for the majority of the people out there, it is a better option for you. And another little unique situation with a couple of our guys, MetLife and Progressive specifically, we have an exclusive product with them. So if you do bundle between the home and auto, you can actually even share a deductible. So hailstorm hits the house, hailstorm hits the, same storm hits your cars. Instead of you having to file 2 separate claims, they're going to file that under one claim and less money out of pocket on you.
Good information there. Have you been up in the MetLife blimp?
No, not yet. Hopefully one day.
All right. Well, take me with you. I want to go. I've never been in one, and I'd really like to try that.
I'll put that on the to-do list.
There you go. Let's make that happen.
Okay. And then, a couple other bundle reasons we can wrap in landlord properties, jewelry, boats, RVs, term life, kind of be a one-stop shop. And, that's good from a product and a money standpoint, but also just convenience down the road. One call for your insurance instead of being all across the board there.
Exactly.
Another reason to use Goosehead for a new home purchase is we're, in the event of a claim, we are a true consultant or a true concierge instead of a order taker by phone. What I mean by that is you can call us, ask questions about your deductibles, ask coverage, ask questions about specifically what happened, what coverages are included, what's not included. I've had so many horror stories or so many $0 claims on people records that called their captive agent, and those captives have to write down that there was a claim inquiry. So even if you called to ask a question and it shouldn't have been written down as a claim inquiry, that's still going to hurt you for 3 to 5 years, and it's going to be on us to call some underwriters and get approval on that. Mm-hmm. So we can really help you, up front on the product and money side, but also, later on when a claim does happen.
Exactly. And folks, you want to work with somebody, you want to give your business to somebody that, that's going to care about you, that's going to take the time to figure out your situation, what's best for you, and not just run your policy and then run away and you hear from them never. JC and Patty, it's a great couple, and they're going to take care of you. Their agency is going to take care of you. They care. They actually care, folks. They really do. And that really is a huge difference in most insurance agents, honestly. They care, and they're going to take care of you.
Yeah, our entire agency has been built around, helping real estate professionals. And where our title is, an insurance agency, we really feel like we're a real estate company, part of the process. So,
absolutely.
Okay, so another good question is, when is a good time to get a quote? Most of my real estate agent referrals come, ask us to run a quote in those first 10 days, specifically in the option period. The reason why is, a lot of times these sellers might not disclose, a loss on a property, or maybe it's an investor that came in, bought low, doing some work on the property and just doesn't have a good history of the property. So we can run a 5 years check on that property for any previous claims. For example, I had a house out in Benbrook, West Fort Worth, and there was a $100,000 fire loss that was not disclosed. And, of course, brought it up to the client. They ended up, thanking me, over and over and over. They looked at a couple other houses, and, that saved them, a lot of headache in the long run just by checking very, very upfront.
Yeah, exactly. And folks, you don't think about these types of things, but, when we're purchasing a property, we're helping you purchase something, we get that seller's disclosure. But like JC said, it may be an investor. There may be limited history on it. It might even be a foreclosure, which means there's no seller's disclosure on a foreclosure unless it's a HUD, and then they have their own report that they put out on it. But this could supplement, even if it's a true homeowner selling the property, their seller disclosure. Because honestly, a lot of times, folks, so you've been in the house 15 years, you don't remember everything. And you get this supplement from JC, which is that history. You can see what else is going on. This is huge, folks, for figuring out, okay, is this an asset I want to purchase?
Absolutely. So that definitely relates to, water damage. We can tell if it's, plumbing versus appliance related, or you can just bring that back to your agent so everybody's on the same page. And, if they did disclose that water loss, then you know exactly what happened. Also, on our end, the roof is such a big, price lever, eligibility lever on our end. So if someone doesn't know, and you might see a $10,000 claim in the last 5 years, well, that's a good situation for you because you know that roof is in good shape there.
Exactly. And, folks, even when you bring a roofer out to a property and an inspector is the same way, there's really no way to accurately judge the age of the roof. And this is really important. They don't have born-on dates, like a lot of beer bottles or beer cans. So it's an estimate of, what's left in the granules, et cetera. Roofer can give you an estimate, but they still don't know. And that's a great point. It's been the insurance segment with J.C. Harder. Actually, J.C., why don't we come back after the break for a few more items, and then we're going to bring Terry back in on some mortgage. Folks, it's Inside Real Estate. We'll be back in a second.
With decades of experience, the Rocky Martin Supreme Lending Team will work to close your home loan in 30 days or less. With access to the most competitive interest rates, the most financing options, and the most access to down payment assistance programs, the Rocky Martin team won't be beating service to you for all your mortgage needs, including purchase and refinance. Trust RockyMartin.com and his team for their reliable and fast loan process. Go to RockyMartin.com or call 972-772-1866 today. For housing lender, NMLS ID number 211731, 6730 Horizon Road, Suite B, Heath, Texas 75032.
Attention professional sales reps. What does your future look like right now in your current position? Let me tell you what it might look like selling for some of the most recognizable radio stations in Dallas-Fort Worth. It's exciting, it's meeting new people, it's prospecting, it's potentially very lucrative. It's taking your future into your own hands. Interested? Send me your resume at richard.lane@cumulus.com. That's richard.lane@cumulus.com. Cumulus is a drug-free workplace and an equal opportunity employer.
Now back to Inside Real Estate. Here's Mike the Realtor.
Hey, folks, it's Mike Kruizinga here. We're back with Inside Real Estate. Website, InsideRealEstateRadio.com, InsideRealEstateRadio.com. And we're going to bring JC back in because we wanted to finish up our insurance segment. We had a number of good things to talk about. And there was a great point we were talking about with getting the history of a home, and this is huge, like I said, on the foreclosures and homes where, even the homeowner's been there for a while, but they just can't remember everything, and they didn't keep track of everything. So this is huge, JC.
Yeah, and actually, if you have a renter's insurance policy, if you have landlord properties, those claims are all included whenever you're buying, new properties as well too. So it's really good for us to kind of pinpoint the details. We have very good relationship with our underwriters since we write so much business and one of our, all of our carriers' preferred agency. So a lot of times it's just a good conversation with the underwriter and, good things happen, but, we can kind of drill down on those details.
And the rental property, that's another good point that you make because we had so many properties where people bought high right before the crash and then they moved, whatever, and they had to rent the property for quite a while. Reluctantly, but it was the only thing they could do outside of just walking away from it. So they rented it. And so they haven't been in the property for quite a while. They may even be out of state. And so we can get the history of that property.
Absolutely. Another, good time to get a quote, if you don't get that quote within the first days of the option period, especially, if it's a brand new build, obviously there's no previous claims, things like that. So the good time to get a quote is after your lender gives you, the go-ahead, the approval, like, okay, here's what I need, everything's good to go, gives you an estimated closing date. That's another good time to call us, for those quotes. Because these carriers do use credit as a, a judging factor. So it is part of the mortgage process, so it won't affect your score in a sense, or hurt you, ding you that way. But it is, used a part of it. Of the entire process, so we can, drill down on that, and, you don't have to hit it multiple times, if you're not sure on a property.
Sure. We got any additional items over there, JC?
No, again, just, if you're in the market to looking or, deciding between a couple houses, sometimes insurance can make or break your deal. Those older homes with a lot of character might look really good on the eye, but On the insurance world, it might be, a difference of $56 a month. So just use us as a true consultant concierge, and we can help you, any quotes on your new home purchase or anything that you've, purchased recently as well.
Sounds good. Folks, a lot of great information from JC Harder again. The website is jcharderagency.com, jcharderagency.com. Number at his office where folks are standing by for all your insurance needs, 214-643-6109, 214-643-6109. Folks, call JC, get a quote on all your toys. This guy and his wife Patty and his staff, they are going to surprise you. Like I said, they care, and for all your insurance needs, give them a buzz, okay, folks? All right, so we're going to run through a couple of quick items here in real estate, and then I want to get back to Terry over at Supreme Lending about a couple of things we discussed earlier. I want to talk about that gift money and the Social Security income. But first, let me throw out a couple what's going on in the real estate world right now. McKinney adding a $34.5 million fitness aquatic center. This thing is going to be huge, folks. We're looking at about 80,000 square feet of space, 10,000 square feet of total surface pool water. This thing is going to be huge, folks. Going to be just amazing. So look for that coming out in McKinney. Looking pretty good out there. While we're talking about McKinney, there was an interesting show of community support out in McKinney. There was a firefighter whose home had a fire, and the community really rallied around him, and they set up a fundraiser, which was at GoFundMe.com, and one of the ladies from the HOA set this up on GoFundMe.com, and in 4 days it had raised about $10,000. So the community really rallying around this firefighter out in McKinney, and I always like to talk about good things like that because we always hear about all the bad, but we don't necessarily hear about all the good. And this was an article on the Dallas Morning News, so you might want to check that out. Just a great show of support from the community, and so nice to mention, good things like that. This was an interesting article. There's a group out there called 19th Century Restorations, ran by Dan Riddiman, and he took Johnny Carson's old home and his childhood home and redid it. And he redoes these homes that are old celebrity homes, that are maybe either going to dilapidated, fallen down, they're going to be knocked down, etc. And he kind of saves them from that and keeps them as part of history. And so the one he's working on right now was Cassius Clay, Muhammad Ali, and over in Louisville. And just a great article. This was on Curbed. And so great article. You might want to check it out. 19th Century Restorations. So, if there's a home out there that, maybe you think is going to get knocked down or lost to history, these guys might be able to do something about it. I just thought this was a great article, and what he's doing is great to kind of keep some of these homes standing and instead of lost to history. Hey, Steven Spielberg looking to sell his monster Malibu spread for around $26 million. Him and wife Kate Capshaw over in California, only $26 million. Variety says this thing is beautiful. So if you're looking for a nice spread out in Malibu, hey, $26 million will get you there. So that's kind of what's going on in real estate. Let's bounce back to what we were talking about with Terry on mortgage. Terry, can we talk a little bit more about that gift money?
Sure. Okay, so gift money is treated a little differently depending on what loan type you do. FHA, all of your down payment, your closing costs, all of that can be gifted. On a conventional loan, if you're putting 20% down, all of it can be gift funds. If you're putting less than 20% down, Some of it has to be your own money.
Okay.
Depending on a different loan program, either 3% has to be your own money or 5% has to be your own money.
And those funds have to be tracked, right?
Right. We have to document those. And when someone is gifting you, they can't just, like we were talking about earlier, they can't just give you money and you go put $20,000 in the bank.
Right.
We have to source where those funds came from. You have to.
Even from the other source.
That is correct. Yeah, we have to see that they had those monies to gift to you.
Yeah, just because it came from mom and dad.
Right.
We've got to figure out where mom and dad got it.
Right. We have to see their bank statement to show they've got $20,000 to give you. So we'll document that. Usually the easiest way to do that is to just wire the funds directly to the title company, but sometimes we just exchange the money and we have to show it coming out of the donor's bank statement into our buyer's bank statement.
Okay.
So we have to document that all the way through. Money can come from your 401k too, but just make sure, again, that you track it. Make sure you track everything you do because the underwriter is going to want to see proof on all that.
You know, and a lot of folks, they think there's an issue with mattress money, as it's termed. You know, a lot of times people keep money in a safe deposit box, you know, or people literally do keep it in their mattress.
Yeah.
And so this becomes problematic in this day and age with all the lending restrictions that we have. So can you touch base on that a bit and why it's so difficult to deal with that and why you need to get those funds into the bank if you are thinking about purchasing?
My processor, if she's listening this morning, is laughing because we have one exactly like that. We're trying to get to close right now where they had just that. They had mattress money.
Yeah.
And we told them back in January, go put that money in the bank. And they didn't do it until a couple of weeks ago. And now we have this issue of documenting where this money came from. So it's a bit tricky. We kind of sometimes have to think outside the box to get that situation taken care of. But yes, if you've got mattress money, please tell your loan officer up front so that we can come up with a solution, hopefully prior to a day before closing.
Exactly. Yeah, a day before. Yeah, that
right.
would be nice. So for folks that do have that and they choose to keep their money, you know, or some of their money maybe outside of, you know, typical bank accounts. Mm-hmm. So would you say maybe 6 months or a year out from starting the purchase process that they should go ahead and get that into the bank so it can start to be seasoned, if you will, and sitting there and so it can be shown?
The sooner the better, but really we just need 2 months worth of bank statements. That's what we're going to ask for when we start collecting our documentation, is we need to see all pages of the last 2 months bank statements. And if those deposits don't show up on those bank statements, then we're fine. Okay, so it needs to be more than 60 days. From when you put the money in, 60 days out, you should be able to purchase a home and use that as money that we can source.
I got you. So the big point there, folks, is if you know you're going to be using gift money or cash in some form or fashion, it's got to be tracked. We've got to figure out where it's coming from, and we need to talk to you about it early on to figure out what we need to do with you. Let's try to touch on that Social Security income. So for those buyers who, you know, are later in the stages of life and, you know, maybe they've got some equity in a home that they're going to sell and then they're going to downsize, but, you know, maybe they got hit by the market. Situations are different. They're on Social Security income. Maybe they got some pension, whatever. A lot of times those buyers feel like they're not going to be able to buy what they want. Let's talk about that a bit.
Right. We certainly can use Social Security, disability, VA benefits, any of those. Actually, any income that someone receives that is not taxable, we can do what we call gross that money up. So they receive $1,000, we gross it up 125%. So now we have $1,250 that we can use. So we can use a little bit more money even than what they're realizing into their bank account every month.
Okay.
So yes, we absolutely can use those funds. Again, we just need to see the awards letter from where, you know, it tells them how much they're getting and when the money starts.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay.
So they should not be discouraged at all. We can take care of them. We can do whatever they need to do if they need to sell something, use some equity to buy something else.
That's correct.
Move some money around. Like you said, we'll gross up.
That's right.
We'll gross up.
I love it when I can gross something up.
There we go. and we'll get them taken care of. So, you know, we see that a lot. And so they need to understand that, you know, even if you're late in life, you can still buy properties, even if you're on limited income.
Correct.
Social Security income as well. Good stuff. Okay. Folks, the website is rockymartin.com. rockymartin.com. It's Rocky with an IE. And folks are always standing by over at their office, 866-607-5667. It's been Terry Wagner, Supreme Lending Rockwall. Thank you, Terry. And we'll see you back next week or in a couple weeks. Let's throw down a little sports, folks. Maybe we got 2 minutes to throw down a little bit of sports. Let's see what we got here. It was really slim on sports. I like to talk a little bit of sports, but it was so slim. NHL. How about they're looking at a couple expansions? Expansion bid deadline came in. Seattle was expected to put in a bid. They did not. The only 2 apps that came in to get an expansion team were from Las Vegas. And I've been hearing about that for a while, but they actually did put in a bid on it. And also Quebec City. Bill Foley trying to bring a team to Vegas. And then Quebecor, Montreal-based media company, trying to bring team to Quebec City. So might get an expansion team. Of course, we've been hearing about that for a while. Be interesting to see if we got one in Vegas. Supposedly, they already sold about 13,000 tickets in advance, and they actually might have something launched in 2017 and 2018 for that, quite possibly. So interesting there in NHL, and boy, I tell you, I had to dig deep in sports because there's just not a lot going on, and there's not much to talk about with the Rangers, in all honesty. But yeah, and let's stay with sort of the Canadian and the hockey theme. We got the Canadian Open going on, and we might actually have a Canadian winning. David Hearn went into first position yesterday, 2-stroke lead over Bubba Watson and Jason Day up in Oakville. So it'd be the first time in about 61 years, folks, that Canadian might win that. So that's about all the time we got for sports. Folks, it's been Inside Real Estate with Mike Kruizinga. We'll see you back here next week, 8 a.m. Sundays for Inside Real Estate. InsideRealEstateRadio.com. See you next week.
Neither the hosts nor the guests or contributors of the show Inside Real Estate with Mike Kruizinga are attorneys, CPAs, tax advisors, or investment advisors, and are not providing legal advice during the course of the show. If you need professional legal advice or services in 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 legal advice or